If the MXA Wrecking Crew wants to test a famous rider's bike, we just ask them to give it to us. In the vast majority of cases, they agree. Why wouldn't they? They have a host of sponsors who are paying them to generate publicity. Sponsors want their products' decals or name to be seen, and that doesn't happen very often on TV or when the bike is on the track. But when we get a factory bike, there's a downside. We have to fit the riders, teams, and engineers' schedule. We give them a time frame and they juggle the potential days. There are also limits on how much time we can spend on a bike. For example, a Pro Circuit Kawasaki KX250F engine has a 2-hour time limit before it must be rebuilt. We elected to test Chad Reed's 2018 Husqvarna FC450. We went to Reed's crew chief Mike Gosler and had him list every single part on Chad's bike. We then said, thank you, and went back to the MXA offices and ordered every part. Goose told us that there were a couple works parts that wouldn't be able to get. He underestimated us. Our plan was not to test Chad's race bike, but to build an exact replica with our stock 2018 Husqvarna FC450. Mike Gosler was our first stop. Mitch Payton was next. We asked Mitch if he could build us the exact same engine that he built for Chad's 2018 AMA Supercross bike. He readily agreed, but mentioned that Chad had the works KTM cam and special ECU unit that we probably couldn't get. We told him not to worry. He said he would make our engine the spitting image of Chad's. Our next call was a KTM. Yes, we know that Chad races Husqvarna, but the works cam and black box come from the KTM Factory Services engine department, and, on occasion, the engines of the MXA Wrecking Crew. We asked politely for the works cam and factory ignition. They sent them to us the next day. Goose and Mitch were amazed that KTM would hand over the special cam, but we weren't. The kicker was that the KTM cam requires special machining that is beyond the scope of the best-known camshaft companies. It is a complex design that requires very special CNC machines to handle the job. Those kind of machines are in great demand, cost massive amounts of money, and if you had one, you wouldn't be wasting your time making a handful of motocross camshafts. Our fourth call was Kayaba's Technical Touch Suspension Company. Technical Touch is the arm of Kayaba that handles works parts, including the AOSS factory kit spring fork, which is exactly what we needed. We love the Kayaba AOSS factory kit forks, but even though Technical Touch was willing to give us the exact same valving Chad uses, we declined. Instead, we asked for the valving that we used when we built Dean Wilson's Yamaha YZ450F replica back in early 2017. We've tested enough Supercross forks to know that we don't want that kind of beating voluntarily. Technical Touch sent our factory kit forks to TBT Racing for the revalve along with the specs we requested. The rest of Goose's list include the Hinson clutch, engraved CR22 clutch cover, 280 Nm accessory clutch spring instead of the stock 250 Nm washer, 270mm brake in front rotor and brake in rear rotor, the Hilo titanium foot pegs, factory effects graphics and seat cover, and the final pieces to the puzzle were ODI flight handlebars, ODI clamp-on podium grips, Sunstar sprockets, a Pro Circuit shock link, high pressure 2.0 radiator cap, and a no-toil air filter. We did skip a few things along the way: the Akrapovic carbon fiber skid plate and the USA built Talon hubs and DRD Dirt Star rims. We chose to forgo these mods because we didn't feel the need for the skid plate, and the stock Husqvarna wheels looked identical to Chad's silver Talon hubs and black Dirt Star rims. During the time we were building the Chad Reed replica, Chad made a few changes. He showed up with WP forks after the midway point of the Supercross series. Although word on the street, he had Kayaba internals in the WP legs. We assumed that Chad made the change to WP forks in order to get more support from KTM Husqvarna. What was it like to race? We love the engine. Its dyno curve traces the exact same arc as a stock engine, but with 4.5 horsepower more at 6,000 RPM, 7 horses more at 7,000 RPM, 7 horses more at 9,000 RPM, and 63.20 horsepower at peak. Torque was up 3.5 foot-pounds and was just shy of 40 foot-pounds. Was it a fire-breathing monster to race? Yes and no. One thing we have noted about engines that follow the exact power curve of the stock power is that they remain easy to ride, even though they are pumping out buku horsepower. It wasn't until the upper mid-range that Chad's engine got scary fast. The added power and over-rev shocked some test riders, but the more race hours they put on it, the more comfortable they got with the turbo boost top-end hook. As for the Kayaba coil spring suspension, we loved it. We loved it on our YZ125 project bike, Dean Wilson replica, and Chad's bike. MXA's goal was to show you how to build a factory bike using readily available parts, save for the works cam. We ordered all the parts and built the bike in 1 month. It was easy to do and was ridiculously expensive. Money is no object for Chad Reed. Chad actually bought his FC450 at a Florida dealership, and money was no object for the MXA Wrecking Crew. Even with readily available aftermarket parts, this build was a bank buster. Still, it is not out of reach with someone who wants an identical bike. Chad Reed raced in the AMA Supercross series. We don't expect you to buy every part we listed. The Kayaba Works forks, shock, and X-Shit triple clamps easily topped $8,000. The Hilo concept foot pegs were $700. Chad Reed is without a doubt a great motorcycle racer. We chose to build a Chad Reed replica to honor his accomplishments. At 36 years old, with a phenomenal long career and his best days behind him, we admire that Chad still wants to go to the starting line. For all our project bikes and new bike tests, check out motocrossactionmag.com and you'll find everything you need motocross related. And don't forget to follow us on Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube.